Hi everyone, welcome back, or regular welcome if you're new here, and happy 2025! This is my first video of the new year, which means my channel is already 6 months old, little baby. I don't know when babies learn to walk. I don't think it's 6 months old, so maybe my channel can't walk yet. Maybe it's making like babbling noises. Maybe it knows how to say mom. Anyways, I don't think I've ever done art this consistently in my life. So I'm looking forward to continuing this channel and creating even more and making my channel into not a baby. I'm currently in the midst of final season, and while my majors are completely unrelated to art, of course, I found a way to fit in an illustration into one of my final projects because I can, and I'll use any excuse to draw. I don't really want to get into the details of the project because it's kind of a boring final, but the net result is that in this video I'll be designing characters for a blind box. I'll explain more soon, but for now let's get into the speed paint. So for those of you who don't feel the constant need to acquire little plastic trinkets, you might not be familiar with blind boxes or mystery block boxes. No shade, by the way, because I am one of the people who buys trinkets like this. I am a trinket enjoyer. Anyways, the really popular ones are like Simiski's, Sunny Angels, Hirono, and basically you buy a box and get a little figure out of it, but you don't know what the design is going to be until you open it, so you're incentivized to buy so many of them. I'm collecting the Hirono figures right now and they're so cute! And the designs are always really cool, so for my project, I wanted to design some characters in that style. I based the loose shapes of my characters off of the Peach Riot ones, but for the designs, I decided to combine creatures or figures from folklore from around the world. I wanted to mix some pretty dissimilar designs and aesthetics, so the countries I focused on were Mexico, Thailand, Poland, Japan, and England. And the creatures I chose from each country were Tsitsitmitl, Garuda, Rusalki, Chorogumo, and fairies. Sorry about the pronunciation there, I'm looking at you. Indigenous languages in Mexico, when I see that Z or that X, I do not know, and I'm sorry. And yes, I know that fairy folklore isn't just in England, so that one is kind of just loosely Europe, but I just had to choose a country for my project, so I said England. I also am aware that Rusalki are found in many different Slavic cultures, but I've been playing a lot of Witcher 3 recently, which inspired me to include the Rusalki specifically from Polish folklore. Little side note on that, real quick. First of all, who is excited for the next Witcher game? As much as I love Geralt, I'm so glad we'll get to play with Ciri as the main character, and I'm sure the story and the characters and the designs and everything will be so amazing. CD Projekt Red always cooks, and they're so talented, and they also love to whip up the foulest, most putrid little creatures you've ever seen, and I can't wait to experience that. I'm so excited. So anyways, for this project I made the Rusalki from Polish folklore, but I had to make it cute and pretty because I was not about to draw a gross little guy for this design challenge. You know, we want to sell these. It's like an ad for the project, so yeah, I wanted to make it cute. When I originally designed these characters, I really only had the first character, which is a mixture of Garuda and Tsitsitmitl, fully planned out in my sketchbook. I knew I wanted to combine the bright colors that are present in both the red of Garuda's skin and the greens and blues you can find in versions of either Garuda or Tsitsitmitl. I also wanted to incorporate the gold jewelry and headdress of Garuda, but combine it with a skull mask. I technically think it's a skull face, but in this case it's a mask. And that one was Tsitsitmitl as well. Just a side note on these designs, I obviously had a lot of different reference photos. So if you're interested in seeing sort of where my designs came from, I made a Pinterest board for all these characters, which I'll link down below. Once I had the basic design and flats for the first character, it was time for me to move on to the other two, which were a bit more of a challenge because really I had not planned them out. For character 2, I combined Jorogumo from Japanese folklore and fairies from European folklore. Jorogumo is basically a half spider, half woman yokai, so I knew I wanted to add in spider legs, definitely. And I felt that the best way to complement that was by leaning into the bug elements in many fairy designs. I specifically landed on incorporating designs from the blue Morpho butterfly, which also gave me an excuse to add wings. Yippee! Wings and legs, here we go. The clothing is sort of a dress kimono fusion, where the bottom is very kimono inspired, but the top is sleeveless and a bit more of a Western style. And then also, along with the wings, there's a butterfly style sort of cape. I don't know if it's a cape, it's a shawl maybe. Also, as you'll see, as probably you're seeing right now actually, I painted the bottom portion of the dress with a pattern you might see on a kimono, and that was really fun to do. I'd definitely like to incorporate that more in any drawings I do in the future, because it was great. It was so swirly and the colors are fun. I like it a lot. Lastly, for the third character, I combined America's Mothman, because how could I not, and Poland's Ryszulki. I was a bit worried about this particular combination because the Mothman is a giant moth who is also a man, and basically entirely black, whereas the Ryszulki are beautiful women who live in lakes and ponds, but also may or may not want to drag you to your watery death if you come too close. So yeah, the aesthetics are very different, and at first I was like, how do I mix and match these characters so that they don't end up together? But in the end, I liked the other two pairings so much that I was like, okay, this is what it's gonna be. I just defaulted on cute girl with mothwing cape and clothes, and I gotta say, somehow, I think she's my favorite of the three, and I'm so happy how she turned out. I mean, I know they're my designs and all, but if I saw 3 figures at like Pop Mart or something, like these 3, I would buy it. I would buy this box. I know, like, yes, I know I made them, but I would still buy it. Not about to learn Blender though, so these are going to have to stay purely in the 3D, not in the 3D, purely in the 2D realm for now. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going for my design process for these 3 characters and sort of my thought process in making them. And now I want to shift to an entirely different topic, my favorite topic. It's book talk time! I'm going to talk about what I've been reading recently. So in the last, I think 2 weeks, I've started reading, what's it called? Memories of Ice by Steve Erickson. It's the 3rd book in the Malazan series. And if you like fantasy and many continents and lore spanning hundreds of thousands of millions of years and never knowing what's going on, then this book is for you. I love it. It's got a really big cast of characters. Think like Game of Thrones, but less misogyny and more fun times. I don't want to say that, but Game of Thrones sometimes. Sorry, a tangent. I love Game of Thrones. I've read them all. But if you're gonna make a fantasy world, why include sexism if you don't have to? I mean, yeah, okay. I get it. Some writers do that. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's fantasy. Like, why don't we switch things up from the real world a little bit? Why don't we imagine a world where women also have value outside of being wives and mothers? Why don't we do that? So anyways, if you like that sort of thought, Malazan is for you. There are many strong female characters. There's also many male characters. There's dogs, there's an undead dragon, there's like sort of elves but not really elves, and skeleton people, and it's great. And I've been reading a lot recently, and I know this channel is my art channel. This is my art guy. Obviously, I'm gonna stick with that, but I was thinking as like a little extra video someday, I could plan like a 2024 book tier list where I sort of go through which books I read last year and sort of rank them and talk about how I felt about them. I'm a big fantasy reader, and as you can probably tell, that sort of side of me really fits into my character designs. I'm very inspired by what I read and what I play game-wise. So yeah, if anyone's interested in like just a little book tier, let me know. You'll get to see me have opinions about things and maybe piss people off, but they're my opinions, so good luck with that. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. Memories of Ice by Steve Erickson. Would recommend the Malazan series in general. This one is a little bit darker than the previous two. Gets into like cannibalism and scary things and siege warfare, but I like it a lot, and I'm excited to read the next one once I finish this one. That is the book corner for this video. Yippee! And good timing, I'm almost finished with these designs. Just doing the finishing touches on my favorite little Mothman Rusalki guy. And I love her so much. She's so cute. She is so cute with the little moth wings and the little pose. I want to be her. I want her hair. I want to live in a lake and not have responsibilities. I don't really want to drown people, but the rest sounds pretty good. But yeah, that's what I got going on. Here's the finishing piece, the finished piece. Oh my god, English is so hard. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you in another video. Bye!